Okay, so day 2, journaling my trades. We're on the 2-minute chart of gold here. Looking for a quick scalp down. I'm conscious that I'm trading against the trend, so I don't want to get too greedy. I put my take profit at the 50 EMA. On the 5-minute chart, we have moved up and getting resistance off the 21 EMA, and here on the 2-minute chart, resistance off the Ichimoku cloud. Took profit on this one. Did take a trade earlier for a small profit, so with those two, I'm currently up $177 on the day. Okay, second trade of the day. So we're looking at the 1-minute chart of the Nasdaq. Price is in a downtrend. Got resistance up there at the 50 EMA. Price is making lower highs, lower lows. So I'm targeting the bottom at the very least. When I took this trade, I didn't actually have time to move my take profit down to the lows. It shotgunned down there very quickly. But yeah, it was a green trade and $51 profit, so happy with that. So third trade of the day, 1-minute chart on gold. Only loss of the day, but it was quite a big one, and it messed up my P&L in the end, really. So I decided it was creating a bit of a bear flag after an initial move down. Quite a bit of consolidation. Ended up buying, selling the bottom of the range. Now I've noticed that when there's more consolidation, the more violent the breakout will be, which, to be fair, is a rule that this respected beautifully, but I obviously didn't read the part of the rule where it has to stop you out first before doing said breakout. But ultimately, I got into the trade at the wrong time, which is something that I keep doing. I know that my entries are really poor on trades, which is why it usually throws me into the red first. So it was a loss of $346, which is really annoying, but it just is what it is. So trade number 4, 1-minute chart, Nasdaq. So the idea is looking for a break of the Ichimoku cloud, targeting VWAP. Their retest of VWAP is what I'm looking for. So again, just a quick scalp. I've set my stop loss to the bottom of the EMAs. I did move my stop loss to break even in the end. I just find the Nasdaq can be really choppy. Well, especially when I get into it anyway. So I do oftentimes move my stops ASAP to break even, which can sometimes be my undoing, to be fair. I do move them quite prematurely, but this was a $64.50 profit. Again, I've been scaling my contract sizes down quite a lot. I've just noticed these last couple of days, trades have been coming back on itself. They've not been as smooth. But yeah, green trade, so happy with that. Okay, so 5th trade of the day. This is Nasdaq 1-minute chart. An absolute roller coaster of emotions, I don't mind telling you. I think every aspect of this trade was poorly managed by myself. I put a stop just below VWAP, which is pointless. It's not really protecting myself from a retest of VWAP at all. If it decided to do that, I would have been stopped out, so pretty stupid. Playing into the idea, resistance at the top of the Ichimoku cloud, creating a lower high, which we had been doing. We were in a bit of a downtrend. But yeah, I actually gave up on it. I walked off and made myself a brew. I stopped watching it. We just came so close to my stop loss, I just couldn't be bothered anymore. I'd completely consigned myself to defeat like the Polish and 9:39. Watching this one was like watching the fat kid line up for the 100-metre sprint at school sports day. You know the outcome. You don't need to watch it. So imagine my surprise when I come back to the screen, brew in hand, to find that the chubby little git had actually made it over the line, and we were actually up in profit instead of being stopped out. So moved my stops around when that happened, but ultimately it didn't want to go for me, which is fair. So profit, if you can call it that, was $19.50 on this one. To be honest with you, I would have been happy with just get out at break even. So anything over that is not expected after the way this started. And then the last trade of the day, looking at gold. I was using this on my tablet as opposed to on the laptop, so that's why the screen bounces around a little bit, acting more retarded than my trade entries. Looking for a breakout the Ichimoku cloud. Initial idea was to target the pivot point, but I did end up moving my take profit down a little bit. I just felt it was getting a bit choppy. And again, with it being a bit later on in the day, I was red on the day by this point still after my quite heavy loss. So I really just wanted to lock in some profit, get back green on the day. So it took a profit of $141 on this one. So I ended up green on the day, $79.75 in profit, which after yesterday's red day, I'm happy to be back in the green. Again, trading smaller contract sizes today. But yeah, green day, happy with that. I don't like having 2 red days in a row. I think that's only happened to me twice, 2 red days in a row. So yeah, usually when I have a red day, I really try the next day to just trade a bit more sensibly. But yeah, 6 trades, 5 winners, 1 loser. But it really was that loser that dragged my P&L down, and this is something that I do have to work on. My risk management really isn't great, and I think days like this really prove that. I think my biggest win was like $177 biggest win, but biggest loss was well into the 300s, so that's definitely got to change.